So gross earnings or gross pay is the total amount of money an employee earns in a pay period. So this is what you're going to be seeing show up on your check or in your bank account. There are a few different pay categories that we're going to talk about. So the first one we're going to talk about is salary. There's also hourly, commission, salary plus commission or bonus, and a piece rate. So we're going to kind of discuss some of these, and depending on where you work, you could be in different one of these pay categories. Okay, so the first one we're going to talk about is our salary. And so when you are paid salary, you are paid a fixed amount of money, and it's the same amount each pay period. And you're going to earn the same amount regardless of how many hours that you work during that pay period. So a lot of times you'll have a contract and it might say you're supposed to be here at 7:30 to 4:30, but if you end up staying late one day till 4:15 because you don't get out of here on time, you don't get paid extra for that. So it doesn't matter how many hours you work for that, you are going to get paid the same each time. And the hourly wage is going to be based on your hours you work. So the wage is the amount of money paid to an employee at a specific rate per hour. So when you're finding your gross earnings here, you're going to take your wage multiplied by the number of hours worked. A lot of times when you're in an hourly pay schedule, you are going to keep a time card. And this is just recording when you're entering and leaving. And many businesses will have you go to the 15. So if it's closer to 4:15, you're going to put 4:15. If you left at 4:05, you're going to make that say that you left at 4. Some companies will have electric badge readers, and these are identification bags with a magnetic strip in them. So when you're swiping those cards, it has all of your employee information and is able to do that electronically for you. And your business owner or supervisor, both of them, they're going to check your accuracy of hours. So you don't get to just put whatever. It is still going to go through the upper level management, and they're going to make sure that you actually worked those hours, and they sign off on that to go through to the payroll. Accuracy of hours, so you don't get to just put whatever. It is still going to go through the upper level management, and they're going to make sure that you actually worked those hours, and they sign off on that to go through to the payroll. So all the places that I have worked, I've used a time card. One of those was just a paper copy that I wrote on, and the other one was done through Excel. And then we would type it in and it calculated it for us, and then we would print it off to get it approved. But there's a lot of different ways that they can do that. I've never worked with someone with the electric badge readers, but those would be very easy. Less time consuming for you, but. I'll show you, this is the timesheet that the district uses for, and so at the top you're going to have your name, and on this one it has like what position you are, so if you're a para, coach, whatever it is, and then it has your weekly time report for the week ending. So this is where you're going to put the date up here at the ending of the week, and here's going to be your total of hours. So you're going to check in when you came in and when you go out. So if you come in the morning and you don't leave till the afternoon, you're going to go ahead and put your out here. But when you go on lunch breaks, a lot of times it has you check out and then check back in when you come in. And this was, I got paid every 2 weeks, so it had 2 weeks on here. And when you get done with it, you're going to sign, and you're going to have your total hours that you worked here, any other hours that you have. So these are just your regular, and then if you're sick or have any personal days here. And here is the signature of your supervisor where they are going to sign to approve it. And then it gets sent in to be paid. So, another way that you can be paid is by commission. So that is an amount paid to an employee based on the percentage of the employee's sales. Can anyone think of an example of some place that has that? Yes?
Restaurant.
A restaurant could be, yes?
The buckle.
The Buckle, that is a good example. Yes?
Those online sellers that like go door to door.
Yes, so a lot of times, like clothing stores and stuff, they're going to be commission. So they are getting, they have a base salary, but then they get extra for everything that they are selling. So they get a percentage of their sales. So that is why when you go into some stores, they are pushing you to try on new things because they are wanting you to buy as much as you can. A piece rate is a specific amount of money for each item, for each item the employee produces. And then there's also overtime pay. So overtime pay set by the Fair Labor Standards Act of 1938 is 1.5 times the employee's regular hourly pay rate. So we kind of just touched base on this a little bit last class, but this is going to be when you're working over your 40 hours a week, is when you're going to get overtime pay.
$sign for like when I was multiplying it.
Okay, so calculating commission. When you are calculating commission, you will use the formula sales times commission percent equals your commission. So for example, if David earned 7% commission on his sales and his sales were $1,328, what is his commission? So what are we going to do in this situation?
Well,
What are we going to put into the formula? If our formula is sales times commission percent is the commission.
1,328 times 7%.
Okay,
so it's probably gonna be a dozen.
very good.
Yeah, 0.07.
Yeah, so when we're calculating percent, always remember when we are moving that to multiply, we're going to want to move that back 2 decimal places. Just like in algebra. Just like in algebra, very good. Yes. Does this make sense to everyone? So this is gonna be, like we talked about, some of the clothing stores, this is what they're doing. So if they have a total sales amount of this, and they get 7% commission, they're just getting, the $92 from doing that.
Please, that's so much.
They did not make very much off that.
Yeah, that's not fair.
And a lot of times when they're being paid commission, they have already, they have another set of income. This is just like a bonus on top of that. So they're getting still a base salary plus this,
How
yes.
do they track the sales when I'm at the store?
I believe that a lot of the stores, like when you go up to pay, they usually ask, did anyone help you with this? They're going in and plugging that information, then when they ring it up, so it automatically goes to their account. So just in their computer systems, they're having that. So when we are finding our gross earnings, you take the salary and add it to the commission. So if David gets $300 a week, his total gross earnings, when you find you use the commission from above, we're gonna have
392 and 96.
yes, 392. So we're just adding the commission on. So they're no matter what getting this $300 per week, but their commissions. So that's why a lot of people are pushing that, because the more that they sell, the more that they get on top of that.
Your home realtors work basically off of commission only. But you've got to remember that they are selling $215,000 in a house, and they're getting that 3 or 4% commission off of that amount.
That's a lot of money. I would sell $1 million house.
So now we're going to work on calculating the commission.
I don't know, it's kind of sticky.
Goodness. There we go. Okay. So calculating commission. So I'm going to start over here. Oh, and make sure you click the pin. So Sally gets a salary of $250 a week. She also gets 8% commission on her sales. If her sales are $2,085, what are her gross earnings going to be? So what are we going to do first in this?
We're gonna do her sales times her commission percentage, and then we're gonna add the salary to that commission.
So we can
Very good.
Equals. I don't know.
I feel smart.
So yes, we're going to go ahead and we can start with our commission, try and find that. So does anyone have what 2,085 times 8% is?
I know what the
166.8.
166.8.
ending is $416.
And what are we doing to find the ending?
Adding 250 to that.
So we're going to take our commission, so that's our commission, and then we're going to add that to our
16.8.
salary.
416.80.
How much?
Mental health.
416.
I know, Tara.
416
Yeah.
and 80 cents.
She is shoving.
Very good.
hard.
All right.
It's hard.
You
Tara.
can pick up here who has not gone. Yeah. Very good.
I think every time Karen gets a pin, she
Very good.
struggles.
That's all right. We got it. All right. Pick someone who has not gone.
That's right.
So, Kim gets a salary of $375 a week. She also gets 6% commission on her sales. If her sales are $1,850, what are her gross earnings? So, we are going to do what first? We're going to find the commission first? Yeah. So we have our sales. Very good. Times our commission. which is 6%. So very good, we have 0.06 up there. And then we are going to go ahead and add that to our salary. Very good.
Bring out the answer.
And Aiden hasn't answered. Does anyone want to double check that answer?
It's good.
Very good. All right. You can pick a friend who has it.
I totally
You probably went over all of them already.
My birthday was last month. Ha.
Let's go. You had a birthday last month?
Really? You have a birthday?
Okay, so this one says Pam gets a salary of $300, and she has 7% commission on her sales, and her sales are $1,584. Very good. So,
110.
very good. All right.
410.
$410.88. Is that what everyone got?
Yes.
Very good. Very good. Okay.
Why aren't my arms as flexible?
So, now we have calculating overtime pay. So, when you're finding the overtime rate, you're going to take your hourly wage times 1.5. So when we're looking at our overtime rate, this is how much you get paid per that hour. So like we talked about earlier, if our wage is going to be $8, we are going to multiply that by 1.5 times. And that is, so you're going to get paid extra for staying there. You get paid more. So you will then add this to their wage from working at the regular wage to find their gross earnings. So, for example, if Sally worked 44 hours, how many hours are going to be calculated at the regular wage? Yes? 40. Okay, very good. And the overtime then is going to be, how many hours are we going to calculate at the overtime rate?
Wait, how do you know it's 40?
So a full-time work week is 40 hours a week. So it's always going to be that. So we're going to have, when we're finding her gross earnings, we're going to have many steps to finding the overtime. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find our overtime rate. So we're going to take our hourly wage, which is $8.75, and multiply that by 1.5. So when you multiply that out, it gives 13.125, which rounds to $13.13. So for the overtime hours, you are going to get paid $13.13 instead of just getting paid the $8.75. And then we have to calculate our regular earnings. So we're going to go ahead and use our regular hourly wage of $8.75 and go ahead and multiply that by the 40 hours to get, and that gives $350 for this particular problem.
You add it? Oh, you multiply it?
Then we have to find our overtime earnings. So this was our regular earnings. So now we're going to use our overtime rate to find our overtime earnings. So like we said, we are going to use that for 4 hours because she worked 4 hours over the regular work week. And we're going to take 4 times the $13.13 to get $52.52. And then to find her total gross pay, we are going to add both of those numbers together. So that is where we're going to add our overtime and regular earnings. So $402.52.
This is so confusing. How are we supposed to remember that?
Well, there's a lot of steps for this, and we're going to do some problems together. But you just are going to remember what regular hours, how many hours you're supposed to work in a week, or the total regular time job, you're gonna have 40 hours. Up until 40 hours, you don't get overtime pay. So, but anything over your 40 hours is going to be at that overtime rate. But you don't get paid the overtime rate for everything. So that's why we didn't just take it times the 44. Because up until 40 hours, you still get just your $8.75. But anything after that, you're gonna get paid a little extra because you've been working a lot. So, we're gonna do a few of these problems together now.
She work.
Okay. So, who has
Devin.
gone? Okay.
Who's volunteering? I even slashed out my chair so I wasn't noticed.
And we're gonna do this together.
Okay.
Okay, so Hannah has an hourly wage of $11.50. This week she worked 42 hours. What are her gross earnings? So the first thing we're going to look at is how many hours she worked.
42.
She worked 42. So how many of these hours are overtime?
2.
2.
Those.
So at our regular rate, we're going to use the regular hours, correct? So, but what do we want to do first? Do we want to go ahead and find what the overtime rate will be?
We should
Yes.
probably.
Yeah, we're supposed to find rate. It's supposed to be like 1150 times 1.5, right?
Yes. So to find our overtime, we're going to take our wage times 1.5. And this is what we're going to get paid for our overtime. So who has an answer for this for us?
I have an answer for the whole thing.
Well, do you have an answer for
$17.25.
$17.25? So this is our overtime rate. So when we were finding, so how many hours are we gonna, you get $17.25 for?
For
2.
1 hour.
2.
Let's look at our total hours that we worked are 40 hours. So 2 hours we get paid the extra, correct? So we need to find that number, and then we also need to find what she earns at her regular wage. So what do you want to do next? You want to find what she earned overtime, or do you want to find what she earned at her regular earnings?
Let's go right.
Okay, regular earnings. So how many hours? 40. And at what is her pay rate?
1150.
Very good. Very good. So 40 times $11.50. Who has it? You have it?
460. Okay.
460. Very good. Are we done?
No.
60.
So now we need to do what? So we have 2 more hours left. What are we going to use for our wage for that? When we work over our 40 hours, we have 2 hours overtime. So are we gonna get, yes. So here we have our overtime rate. So we're gonna be able to use that amount for 2 of the hours.
$34.50.
Good job, sir.
So $34.
34.
Which adds up to
Very good.
49.
Is that all we need to do?
No, we need to round it.
We need to
No, we
find
need to
our-
add the 460 and the 3450.
Very good. So now we need to add both of our earnings together. So we're gonna take, 460 plus our. And did someone say that they had the total answer?
$394.
$494.50.
494.
Very good. Very good. All right. So you can pass it off to someone who has not gone yet.
Trade. Trade.
I'll do it now. Yeah, no, I have.
Alright, so we're gonna do the same thing here. So first we're gonna wanna figure out how many hours we worked for the regular rate and how many hours we worked overtime. So, in a regular work week, how many hours? 40. Very good. So, you can either find our regular wages first, or we can figure out the overtime first. Overtime. Very good. So he has the hourly wage up there of $10.75, and he's multiplying by that.
$16.13.
16.13. Very good. Okay. So now here's our overtime rate. So how many hours do we get to get paid? That much.
3.5.
Very good. So we're going to take 3.5, and then multiply that by our 16.13. So we have 3.5 times our $16.13.
$56.46.
How many?
$56.46. How many cents? 46.
So this right here is what we got paid for working overtime, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so now we need to figure out how much we got paid working just at our regular rate. So how many hours do we have for that? 40. Very good. And what are we going to multiply that by?
10.75.
Very good. Yeah. So 40 times $10.75.
430.
400 what?
30.
$430 even? Very good. $430 or $400.30?
$430.
Okay,
Oh.
no problem. That's okay.
I did that.
Okay, and now, are we done?
No.
What do we need to add now?
Overtime, pay, and then your hourly,
Yes. So, we're gonna take our overtime wage,
486.
so we're gonna take our regular, what we earned at our regular hours and what we earned at our overtime hours, and we're gonna add those together, because that is gonna be what we get paid.
486.
486.
46?
Yes. Very good, and that is gonna be your gross earnings. Okay.